Simon couldn't believe his ears. Filipino kid brings Elvis back to life on AGT, loudly crying fire. The theater lights dimmed, and a hush fell over the massive America's Got Talent audience. Cameras zoomed in on a small boy standing center stage, barefoot, trembling, clutching a microphone twice the size of his hand. His name was Liam Cruz, a 10-year-old from a small fishing village in the Philippines. The crowd expected another shy kid with a sweet voice. No one knew that in a few seconds, this little boy would make Simon Cowell, the man famous for never crying, sit back in shock, eyes glistening. Liam took a deep breath. The band began to play a slow guitar riff, Can't Help Falling in Love, an Elvis classic. For a moment, he hesitated, his lips quivering. Then he closed his eyes, and when he started to sing, time seemed to stop. His voice, deep, soulful, eerily familiar, filled the room with the same warmth and nostalgia that once echoed through Graceland. It wasn't just imitation, it was reincarnation. Every note carried something pure, something unexplainably powerful. People in the crowd gasped. By the second verse, many were already in tears. Backstage, his mother Maria clutched her chest, whispering prayers. She had sold her wedding ring to afford the plane ticket for her son to audition. Liam had promised her, "Mama, I'll make the world hear me, and maybe they'll remember Papa too." His father, a street musician, used to sing Elvis songs by the roadside before he passed away during a storm. That night, Liam wasn't just singing for fame. He was singing to bring his father back, if only for a song's length. When Liam reached the final line, "Take my hand, take my whole life too," his voice cracked, raw and trembling with emotion. The silence that followed was electric. Then, as the last note faded, the audience erupted, people jumped to their feet, crying, cheering, clapping in rhythm. Simon Cowell's jaw hung open. He whispered something to Sofia Vergara, who had tears streaming down her cheeks. Then Simon leaned into his mic, and in that low, astonished voice known around the world, he said, "Liam, I've been doing this show for years. I've heard a lot of singers. But what you just did, that was magic. Elvis would be proud." Golden confetti burst from the ceiling. Liam stood frozen, staring at the shower of golden light. His tiny shoulders shook as tears rolled down his face. Maria ran to the stage, and Liam fell into her arms. "You did it, Anak," she whispered, using the Filipino word for, "my child." "Papa heard you tonight." But what the audience didn't see was what happened after the show. Liam didn't ask for interviews or fame. Instead, he asked one of the producers if he could go outside to sing one more song, for the people waiting beyond the gates. There, in the warm summer night, surrounded by janitors, security guards, and fans who couldn't afford tickets, Liam sang, "Love Me Tender," once more. People gathered, phones lit up like stars, recording a moment that felt too pure for television. His voice, small but powerful, drifted into the night sky, a voice from a boy who sang not to impress, but to heal. The next morning, that impromptu street performance went viral. Millions watched it, not because of his talent alone, but because of his humility. One comment read, "He sang for everyone, not just the judges. That's what makes him special." Another said, "I haven't believed in kindness for a long time, until now." Liam had unknowingly started something bigger than himself, a wave of generosity. Donations poured into his village back home. People funded new fishing boats, school supplies, and even rebuilt the community center destroyed in last year's typhoon. Weeks later, when Liam returned to AGT for the semifinals, Simon met him backstage. The boy bowed politely, but Simon knelt down instead. "Liam," he said softly, "you reminded me why I started this show, to find voices that touch the world. You didn't just sing Elvis. You sang life." Liam smiled, shy as ever, and whispered, "Sir Simon, I just wanted to make people happy." That night, as Liam performed again, this time, Suspicious Minds, with a live band, the world watched in awe. Every sway of his hips, every smile, carried the spirit of the king but the soul of a humble boy from the islands. By the end, the judges were on their feet once more. Simon pressed his hands together and nodded deeply. "You didn't just bring Elvis back," he said into the mic, "you brought back hope." After the finale, Liam didn't win the $1 million prize. But when asked if he was disappointed, he simply said, "Winning is making people smile." That line would be replayed across social media millions of times. Even Elvis fans from the 60s began calling him, the Little King. Months later, a foundation was created in Liam's name to support young Filipino musicians. Maria received a letter from a small American church choir that said, "Your son made us believe in miracles again." Years down the line, Liam would often return to that same fishing village, standing barefoot by the shore, singing to the sea, just like his father once did. The waves carried his voice far and wide, and though the applause was gone, he sang with the same heart. Because for Liam Cruz, music was never about fame. It was about love, pure, selfless love that travels farther than sound, stronger than loss, brighter than fame. And somewhere, perhaps, under a starlit sky, the king himself might be smiling, knowing that a boy from the Philippines had kept the flame alive. Because sometimes, miracles don't wear crowns. Sometimes, they just hold a microphone and sing.